Today is World Diabetes Day, which is a big day for me because I am a type 1 diabetic. As is Jake O'Brien, who's the only current type 1 diabetic Premier League footballer. He's about to surprise a load of children with the condition.
Well, we moved to Finch Farm in 2007 when David Moyes was the manager. That's exactly the same size dimensions as the pitch at Hill Dickinson Stadium.
I love Jake O'Brien. He's got such a good thumb.
How many?
Where's yours? I put mine here as well.
15. Oh, easy. I'm going to go solid 20 gram a carb. 20 gram a carb. 12? Are you messing? No, I didn't make it.
He's not having it. He's not having it.
I'm going to do 15. Oh my God.
Hello.
What pod do you use?
Pod? No, I inject. Yeah.
You got it at 16.
When I was 16, yeah. How old are you now?
I'm 12. No, I'm not. I'm 11.
Here we go, chippy chips. Chippy chips, that's what we're talking about. Chippy chips, what are we saying, how many?
How many grams is it?
60 carbs.
130, yeah.
60 carbs.
53.6.
I was 60.
70. 40.
Only 40.
Jake, you are, of course, a type 1 diabetic, as I am. It is World Diabetes Day. So let's take it back to when you got diagnosed. What age were you?
I was 16.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how was that?
I think at the time of being diagnosed, I had no idea what it was. So I think at the initial thought, I wasn't in shock because I was like, well, is this something I can get rid of tomorrow?
Yeah.
And then, yeah, just being in the hospital, I think more of it is just like a education kind of purpose of just you're in there about a week just learning how to live with it. But it's never, I've personally never struggled with it just because I've been kind of, my personality is just kind of level.
Yeah.
So I've never struggled mentally with it, but I think that's a big problem, I think, in people being diagnosed is the mental side of it as opposed to physically. So that's why I'm so open about it, just because I've seen so many people struggle with it mentally, and I think it's just about letting them know that they're all right, as much as it is challenging. There's no point in saying it's not, but you can do everything that everyone else is doing.
It's crazy when you say that because I relate to literally everything you've just said, and I feel like people who don't have the condition won't understand that.
Yeah.
But it is so challenging day to day, but also it doesn't stop you achieving anything. And I'm someone that's been very open. I've struggled mentally a lot with it, with all the decisions. When you were diagnosed, how ill were you, if you don't mind me asking? Because I was told personally that my bloods was so high, I was a week away from going into a coma, that my body wouldn't have functioned for longer than a week. What was your situation?
So I think, I don't know how long I've had it, but I was at a stage of 16, so I was trying to put on weight and I was in the gym. Yeah. And instead of going up weight, I was going down weight. I was kind of just looking at the scales and I was like, I'm obviously not eating enough, but I was piling my face of food and everything. And just drinking 8-9 litres of water a day, and it was just flushing. I was taking naps, which I never really did before. So I was just constantly tired, drinking a lot of water, and it was just, I think at that age you don't really think the worst. Yeah. You think maybe just a bit ill or whatever, and I think it just got to a stage then where I was in the sitting room and my parents were looking at me and my top was off, and they're like, "Yeah, we need to get you. Have you looked?" It was hard for my mum to do that because she was like, "You have to go to school."
Really?
Yeah, she was like, "You have to go to school. I don't care if you're dying," and I was literally dying. And she was
wow.
And eventually, then she was like, "Yeah, no, you have to go and get your bloods done." And within minutes of being in there, they were like, "Yeah, you probably have diabetes." Yeah. Because my sugars were like 46.
Were they?
Yeah.
Wow,
so they're like, one more night and you would have been in a coma. So
a night.
Yeah, one more night.
Wow. Because my bloods were a similar story actually, 36 and 35 when I was diagnosed. So they said straight to hospital, and they said I was a week away from a coma. So yours were actually, I can't even relate to them being higher than 36 because of how ill I felt and how I had no energy. I was thin as anything, urinating every, no exaggeration, every half an hour of the day. And that's how I felt. Your bloods were 46. So they said
46,
to you were a day away from a coma.
A day away, yeah. So you could have had dinner that night and then went to sleep and just...
Wow.
Yeah. Scary, but at the same time.
When they said that to you, how did you react? Because I found that mentally quite hard to process at the time.
I think at the time I just thought nothing of it, really.
Really?
Yeah, I just thought, like, what's diabetes? I mean,
Yeah.
I'm slim, I'm trained the whole time how to have diabetes, and then they kind of just explained what it was, and it was just the whole educational side of it.
Yeah.
Being in hospital and learn to live with it, and everyone around me is so positive, and they kind of helped me. I think they were more shocked about it than I was.
Yeah.
So then they were shocked that I wasn't upset.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. But then I was, after a couple of weeks I was fine. I was back in training.
That's good. Obviously that's 16. That's quite a pivotal moment in your career, which is because I was different. I got diagnosed as an adult.
Yeah.
But it was a very similar time in terms of careers, in that you're getting diagnosed just before you're ultimately turning pro, right? At a really, really pivotal time. I got diagnosed just as I started presenting, so I had this perception from the outside that was where I was at. I'd achieved the most, or I was doing quite well for myself from the outside world, but I'd never been iller. I'd never felt worse in my body physically and mentally. And I suppose you must have had a lot of challenges with then trying to turn pro, but then dealing with a lifelong condition at the same time. It probably came at a quite intriguing time for you. Right?
I think it came at a good time, funny enough, because I think it kind of made sense in a way of, at that age, I was trying to put on weight for a long time, and it just wasn't kind of getting up the weight, and I was doing a lot of training, a lot of eating, and I think the minute I was diagnosed, it's packed on muscle.
So you used it as a positive,
Used it as a positive, because I was like, oh, this must be the reason why I wasn't putting on the size, because technically I was playing football, I was good, it was just physically I was lacking. And coaches were telling me that, and then the minute I was diagnosed, I was injecting insulin, so obviously I had the right stuff in my body, and then just kind of excelled from there.
I know what you mean about the actual diagnosis. As challenging and as horrible as it is, it does. You do know then that you are then going to start feeling better.
That was the reason. Yeah, a couple of weeks you must be feeling
the point
bad,
before the diagnosis. I felt incredibly ill. Like I wasn't going to survive, and probably you felt the same.
Drinking a lot of water. Yeah, just thought I was the most hydrated man ever.
Yeah, same.
I was like, well, I must just be really hydrated
and not putting on any weight. I was like a twig at the time. Yeah,
waking up during the night constantly.
Yeah,
because I was even in like school, teachers giving you lessons and
falling asleep.
Falling asleep. Yeah,
it's crazy. I can relate to all of that.
What is going on with me?
Were you ever told that the condition would prevent you becoming a footballer? Because Nacho is probably, it's fair to say, the most high-profile footballer that's ever had it. Obviously, won everything there is to win at Real Madrid. He was told. I read an article where he was told at a young age, doctor said to him that his condition might prevent him ever becoming a footballer because of the amount of decisions you have to make. Was that ever a conversation you had with any healthcare professionals?
No, they never said you wouldn't be a footballer, but I don't think they knew that I was serious about being a footballer, so they never kind of said, okay, you won't do that. I think I was always like, yeah, I'm going back playing football next week, and they were like, oh yeah. But I was serious, and I just kind of, I don't think they took it serious that I wanted to be a footballer and nothing to fall back on, and that was what I was going for. And I think, I was only a couple of weeks, and it just kind of pushed on levels then.
And of course, you were talented at your youth team, weren't you? Because you won a national title. Correct me if I'm wrong here, in boxing.
Boxing, yeah.
And in hurling.
Yeah.
And it was a time when you were just about to turn
and
professional football.
Yeah.
Not a bad kid to have in your team in a lot of sports.
No, I went through the whole lot of them, growing up. A lot of sports.
Was it always football for you?
Yeah, I think that's the one that I enjoyed the most.
Yeah.
That I went and it's you're looking forward to training again. Whereas I loved boxing and hurling and stuff, but I just felt like football was the one where I loved being out there with my mates and kicking the ball and
After football, you ever thought of a career in boxing? We see you in the ring in a big fight.
I'd love to, but can you be a boxer with diabetes? I don't know. Is that a condition?
It's a good point. I don't know.
Yeah.
There is a type 1 that boxes. I don't know if it's professional.
Oh yeah.
There is. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't go into the whole professional boxing, but like I'd love to fight again. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd love to see it.
Yeah. No. Possibility. Yeah.
Wow. You are the only known type 1 diabetic Premier League footballer currently, and it's very hard to know categorically how many there have been because we don't know if ones have revealed if they are. But we believe that you are the first type 1 diabetic Premier League footballer since Gary Mabbott. Now, for perspective, he retired 27 years ago in 1998, which shows how difficult it is to make it at the top with this condition.
Yeah.
Do you look at yourself as like a role model in the community then? Because it's incredible how few type 1s have made it to your level.
Yeah. I mean, as much as difficult it is for me, it must be much more difficult for him.
Yeah.
Just because the technology nowadays is advancing, and like having the text comms on you and all that stuff, it's much easier. And he probably didn't have any of that. He's probably just pricking his finger and.
He is still actually. I've worked with him recently. He still does that. Yeah, doesn't have
prick the finger.
Yeah. Did it all that way.
I mean, yeah, whatever is easiest for you, I suppose.
Yeah.
But no, I just thought it was important that I kind of share my experience with as much people as I can, and with the kids, because I think I've seen it firsthand, being in the hospitals, people struggling mentally, probably being told that they can't do this, can't do that, whereas they can do everything. But I think, as much as I've said in a lot of interviews that it's you can do everything and all, there is obviously challenges.
Yeah.
It is more difficult, but you still can do everything as long as you look after your body and keep everything in control.
I totally agree. What would you say, because I get a lot of messages from parents with kids with it, and it is a lot to take in. What would you say to the parents that, when we've been speaking to kids today, that have said, I don't think I can do this, or they have that, they're reinforced that they can't do something because their life's changed? I mean, I don't know if you do, but I look at my life definitely in two parts, pre-diagnosis and post-diagnosis. But it's sort of spurred me on to do more, and it's really ignited a fire in my belly to achieve stuff because I've got something. I don't know if you can relate that to that.
There is times you're thinking, oh, what if I wasn't?
Yeah.
How would I look? But then I think what I have achieved, I probably wouldn't have done if I wasn't.
I know what you mean by that.
You know, and things would be different. But yeah, no, I'm as hard as it is, I'm happy that I have it, and that I kind of express having it. And even for not just people that have diabetes, but for the parents that have kids that have diabetes, a lot of them message me, and I think it's difficult for them too if you have a 1 or 2 year old and you're up all night checking them, because the kid can't tell you how they feel. And I think it's as difficult as for me, it's much more difficult for them parents. So I get a lot of messages off them, just kind of suppose letting them know that the kids will be fine, and that they'll have a normal life, and they can do everything, and that they shouldn't hold them back.
For those watching who aren't diabetics, there'll be a lot of people watching this who aren't. Give us a sort of nuts and bolts into a typical day, because they do say that an average type 1 has to make 180 extra decisions a day. There's a lot that goes into it. So should we, in layman's terms, just go through what a day involves as a type 1 diabetic?
Yeah, I can just wake up, check my phone, see what my glucose levels are. Depending on what they are, then you might kind of level it out, but it's usually fine in the morning. Weigh up what you're having for breakfast. I kind of just eyeball it, the carbs. Yeah. But it's kind of the same every day. In our football, I have typically the same breakfast, and I'd inject depending on how much I'm eating. Then before I go out, check my sugars again. Just keep checking. I keep checking it before I go every 20 minutes.
Do you check your bloods every 20 minutes of the day?
Before going out playing football, not all during the day.
Yeah.
Sometimes I might check it for an hour or two. But it's just constant checking your phone, seeing what you are, trying to keep it level, and just constantly calculating how much you're injecting.
That's the hard bit, isn't it? I find that you've got to calculate every meal with the carbs to work out what level of insulin to give yourself.
And it's never perfect either.
No.
Sometimes I go high or low, but for a game, typically I always go high.
Can I ask you about a match day? Talk to me about a match day, what that involves, like how much you're injecting, when you're eating. Give us a sort of typical match day for you, and how much prep has to go into that.
Yeah, so I always eat 3 to 4 hours before, just like the pre-match.
Yeah.
Try to stay on the same kind of the meals I always kind of have, and for matches for me, I typically go high because adrenaline.
Right, do you?
Yeah, so I go right up. So I'm kind of always injecting a few units here, a few units there, depending on what it is, and trying to level it out. And I try aim for about 10.
Do you? Okay.
Try to, but sometimes it goes higher. It never really drops in games. Just I think adrenaline.
That's amazing, really, because what people won't understand about that is obviously exercise lowers your blood sugar, but you're saying because of the adrenaline of a match day, it actually has the opposite effect.
Yeah.
It can
it's different if you're
increase it.
Just going for a gym session, run. It might be different, but I think in a match day, the adrenaline is so high and the pressure and everything that it just spikes it. And you just try to bring it down to a good level that you can. But in saying that, you'd rather go small bit high than low. Yeah. I think because you can deal with it being a bit high. Whereas if you're low, then you kind of feel a bit edgy and you're trying to get a bit of sugar in the match, and you feel a bit off. And then if you're a bit high, you might feel a bit leggy. a bit dehydrated. But no, it's just trying to find a balance and trying to get in between. But I think from just playing more and more and more, you just
get used to it.
You get used to it, yeah.
So what do you do when the match is happening? Is one of the coaches, have they got your device and they monitoring your bloods? How does that work when you're actually playing and you can't see what your bloods are doing for 45-minute blocks?
Yeah, no, I never, during that 45 minutes, I never check it.
Wow, don't you?
No, I check.
And no one does, a coach doesn't know anything?
I check before I go out, like a few times before I go out, and then going off my trend markers, obviously on the phone tells you if it's kind of edging which way. And then I know from, I suppose, looking at that, what way the match is going to go. And then I think from just having it for so many years, I could feel how my body is. Anyway, without even looking at my phone, I could tell if I'm going high, if I'm going low.
Wow.
So I don't need to look at my phone, but come in at half-time, check again, and depending on what it is, then I kind of inject or eat something.
Yeah, that's amazing that. So there's times at half-time in a Premier League match when David Moyes is doing his half-time team talk and you're having to
just looking at my phone
inject.
Down there, yeah.
Oh, you wow. And have you had occasions this season where you've had to inject at half-time?
Yeah, a lot. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot of times where kind of, the meeting's going on, there's a needle in my leg, and I'm just like.
How do your teammates react? Are they used to that?
No, they're very supportive. Yeah. I think maybe at the start they're probably like, "What's he doing?"
Yeah.
Yeah, but then no, after a while they know what I'm doing, and I think more often than not, I am injecting at halftime just because the adrenaline goes through the roof.
Which is amazing for people that sort of don't understand it, how much that goes on there and how often that is. But it's just, I suppose it's just second nature, something that you have to do.
Yeah, it's just part of my routine and game day.
How aware is the manager and all the teammates generally about your condition? So for training days, do they ask questions? Would they know what to do if you were having a hypo, or would they know what to do?
I suppose we always have a doctor around anyway, so they're very high up in how it is. But I think they know from just seeing, I suppose, this on my arm. Yeah. Seeing me with the needle, they know what it's about, and but I do everything myself, and I've always done everything myself. So as good as the doctors are and all that, I kind of I want to do it myself, and I know how my body is.
That's amazing. What's the biggest challenge, would you say, as a Type 1 diabetic Premier League footballer?
I think your levels are never, mine aren't ever perfect. At times they can be, but sometimes they're not. So sometimes you might be a bit on edge if they're going a bit high, you feel a bit leggy, so you kind of just have to control it to the best you can. But I mean, there's nothing that throws me off. Just from having it many years now, I think. Obviously, you think, what if I didn't have it? What if I didn't have it? But you have it, and you just have to live with it, and as I said, express it and use it as a positive. And
I know what you mean by that. I definitely I remember speaking to a therapist because I struggled a bit with the mental side of it. And I remember he said something really interesting to me. He said, I think the best thing that ever happened in your life was being diagnosed as a Type 1. And I actually got quite offended with him saying that, because I thought, I've just explained to you that I had severe mental health issues, anxiety, I was a week away from a coma. That all sounds quite bad to me on paper. But he said, but look at what you've achieved with it and how you're using it to help people, educate people and raise awareness. And I'd never looked at it like that actually through your biggest adversity can come your biggest strength. And chatting to you, I have to say, I've got this amazing sense of like purpose and perspective that you've got on it. Like, you're not letting it stopping you doing anything, which I think, speaking to a lot of Type 1s is so inspiring to hear, that it seems like you've really used it as a positive, and you can't change it. There isn't a cure currently. So have you always had that mindset that actually this is going to be a part of me and I'm going to use it as a positive?
Yeah, I think for me and you, if we have a platform, so I think it's important that we share them experiences, and like kids do watch you on the TV and they do say, oh, he has diabetes, and if they see you're playing, then I can do that as well. And same for the parents, they watch and they know, and I think it's important when you have a platform to kind of use it and use it in a positive way.
Yeah, well said, totally agree. I want to ask about adrenaline as well. You mentioned that there, because you've had some big moments. So am I right in thinking you became a dad before the first game at the new stadium?
It was the first game, it was the Brighton game. So first home game, first home game.
So you became a dad the same period of time before the first game at the new stadium. So that's a lot to take in, a lot of adrenaline going on. So how are you managing your bloods on days like that, or say a Merseyside derby where naturally I imagine the adrenaline, the build up, the anticipation is heightened compared to another game?
Just inject more insulin.
Do you? Simple as that. To counteract it.
Yeah, it just depends on what your levels are, and you have a feeling, and you go off how your body is, and if that means injecting a bit more, then it is what it is. And besides that, it's all a mental thing with the whole pressure and the atmosphere, and just soak it up. And
I wanted to ask you about the mental side actually, because you were saying there that you've never suffered with that, and that there is a massive link between people with autoimmune conditions and mental health situations. I'm one myself. What would you say to people? We spoke to a lot of kids today who said they're struggling, whose parents are struggling with mental health, with anxiety, with those issues associated with the condition. What advice would you have for them?
Like I've said many times, they can do everything that any other kid is doing. As challenging as it is, it's important to express yourself and use it to your advantage, like I done, and don't leave it hold you back. I mean, I remember when I was young and I was hiding my needle and and I didn't want people to see this, because I was like, I didn't want them to be asking questions. What is it? So I think I was a year or two of hiding, and then it just got to a stage where I was like, I have it now. I have it for the rest of my life, and I just kind of like just express it and use it in a positive way. And that's what I've been doing ever since.
Just out of interest, why were you doing that? Because I was exactly the same. For 2 years, I didn't tell anyone other than my family and my now wife and stuff. But I would inject in private. I was having hypos in toilets on my own, which is very dangerous, by the way, without people knowing. I was doing live TV without people knowing. I found it very awkward being on a tube and you'd inject and everyone would look at you. There'd be the comments, the discrimination that sadly you do suffer, don't you? And we're chatting to kids today that some of them are experiencing bullying, and it's horrible to see. Why did you hide it for 2 years? Because I did exactly the same.
Yeah, I think just in around that age, I mean, kids are kids, aren't they? They're going to comment, and I think I didn't want kids to be asking me why do you have a needle, or what's that on your arm, and it was just always avoiding the questions. And I suppose just insecure of kind of expressing myself and bring my bag around me with stuff. So I always, as you said, going into the toilets or under the table trying to talk as if I don't have a needle in my leg. And and then it just got to a stage where I was like, what am I doing? Why am I hiding it? And I think you're thinking the worst. What are they thinking about me? Whereas no one really cares. I mean, they're not thinking about, oh, you're weird, you're diabetic. And I just kind of got to a stage where I just kind of try to express myself and having it, and that's what I do now. And I think it's been very positive.
Yeah, I think it's a great advice as well, because we've spoken to a lot of kids today that say they do something similar.
Yeah, because I think kids are that.
We can relate to it because we both did the same. But I certainly found the most open and accepting people were when they knew about it, and it made it a lot easier when you do talk about it. And I think it helps your support network as well, because I don't know if you found it when I was diagnosed. My family was so worried because we both got told we nearly died from it before diagnosis, right? So then I didn't want to burden them with it. So by being honest and open, it helps people understand it. Did you find that as well?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think once you're kind of open about it and with your friends and just being out and about, it makes it that much easier. I think that's why so many people struggle mentally, is because they're probably hiding it, and then they're kind of building up a burden around them of leaving it kind of it's all sucked up inside of them, trying to hide it. And then when it comes to stages where someone sees it and you're like, oh no, but it just gets to a stage where you kind of have to just express yourself and see it in a positive way.
I totally agree. And of course, you're having a good season. You must be happy with the way everything's going, bossing it at the minute.
No, it's good. Always be better, but
it's not. But you're doing yourself a disservice. Premier League footballer, Republic of Ireland international, with the condition, you must be.
No.
Looking
really
back to that hospital bed moment to where you are now, you must look at that and go, I've done it right.
Yeah, I think the important thing is I never doubted myself. I just had a vision and went with it. Never left it hold me back, and just went with it. And
I think it's really powerful, Matt, and I thank you for having this conversation. I think we've, as you said, both got a platform. If we can help people by telling our story, hopefully it does. Just finally, what advice you'd have for people that might be struggling with it or with other conditions? Because do you find it incredible that you are the only known type 1 diabetic in the Premier League?
Yeah, because I do know a lot of people have, and some people mightn't be as open as I am, and I think they should be a bit more open. And I think there's a lot more people being diagnosed now, and it's becoming more of a common thing.
Yeah,
a lot more kids and adults are getting it. So I think it's just been educating people on what it is, and then the people having it, just to express themselves and be positive and live with it, and you'd be fine.
Yeah, and opening up, talking, I think.
Open up, talk with it.
That's a key point.
Yeah.
Love that. Jake, I think it's a perfect note to end it. Hopefully, by telling our story, we can help others. Thank you for your time, mate.
Thanks
All the
very
best
much.
for the rest of the season.
Pleasure.
Top
Thank
man.
you.